I got a question about. This is a good question because you're on the eastiest coast you could get, and I'm on the SoCalist west coast you can get. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I have a buddy Trevor who's opening up a brewery in Oceanside, South O, right up here. He's the Australian guy who's on some of the videos. He's not gonna do a beer. He's not gonna do any beers that's over 7%. They're gonna range anywhere from about 3.5 to 7. Which is kind of a gutsy move. Not a gutsy move, but it's a move. It's a newer move because I still have friends that have breweries and they post on Instagram and they're like, hey, come down and check out our new white IPA. It's 7.8% or 8.2%. And I'm just like, damn, man, like I can't really drink those anymore unless Trent gives me one and I have to NBC it. Do you think high ABV beer is done?
Dude, it's so hard to find an IPA out here that's under 7%.
Really?
When I was going through the beer store and trying to find kind of like some variants of cans to send you, like I had a hard time not finding things that were over 8% double hazy IPAs because that's like 90% of what's out here. And it's really not, it's not dead.
It's not dead.
At least in the IPA department. I mean, if you're looking at other types of beers, then, you know, there's plenty of options out there. I mean, we have a beer, we have a brewery out here that specializes in session beers. It's called Notch Brewing Company, and they brew nothing over 5%. Doesn't matter what kind of beer style it is.
Over 5%.
Yeah.
And I guarantee
it's actually really successful.
And I guarantee you you know why? Because they make the most money because they can sell more people.
Yep.
And, you know,
it's all about how much grain you put in that.
It's all about the ABV because they're not just going to go to a brewery and have one beer. They're going to have 3 or 4. But if you're serving them 9-10% beers, you're probably going to have problems.
Yeah.
Every night.
It's a little bit rough to drive home after a couple of those. So, yeah.
Yeah. And Trevor's from Australia, Gold Coast, South Coast. South Coast. And he says, like Raul, I'm in a group text with Raul and Trent, and we just talk and send each other memes and stuff all day and see what's going on with each other. But he was drinking a 3.6% beer from Mexico. And I've never seen anything that low, 3.6%. Not in California. I've seen it I think in Colorado and Utah because they have to bring the alcohol content down a little bit to make it legal. But I think it's the same way in Australia. 3.5% beers are very popular. And I know Trevor's going to sell some of those, and I know that no breweries sell alcohol that low, and I think it's going to be a hit. You'd have to bring the price down a little bit, but I haven't
seen it outside of like a Goza.
Yeah, he called it like an ultra low lager or super low lager. If Hell Brews is in here, man, I'd appreciate some backup, man. 3.2, Richard T. 3.2 was famous in Oklahoma. 3.2%. I mean, that's low. Because we're all, you know, when we think of craft beer, we think of pretty much the West Coast IPA. Everything that's super bitter and hop heavy. So I think it might rub a lot of people the wrong way. Like they're getting ripped off. They're not getting their dollar, their bang for their buck. It's like, well, there's a $7 beer. That's
definitely buy that.
What's that?
I would definitely buy that.
I would buy it, but I'd want to see it maybe $1 cheaper. I mean, if there's a $7 beer that's 7% and there's a $7 beer that's 4%, I'm probably going to buy the one that's got more booze in it. And it would make sense a little bit more if it wasn't the same price. 2.5% ABV.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Michael. Jorge Castro. I stay away from higher ABV too. My tolerance for alcohol has gone too, so that helps. Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to sit down at a brewery and actually have like a bunch of different beers and not get completely wasted if you have to get out of there, you know? But if you're dealing with 5 to 7% beers most of the time, that's fine. But if like you go above that and you have a flight of 8 and 10% beers, like you got to sit down for a while and wait it out, you know? And that's kind of annoying.
Mm-hmm.